Tony Messenger, St. Louis Post-Dispatch columnist. He joins us every Tuesday and every Thursday, and you read him at stltoday.com. Good morning, Tony Messenger.
Good morning, McGraw. How the heck are you?
We're doing good. Let's talk a little Eric Greitens. Sorry about that. Let's talk a little Eric Greitens because, it seems to be ratcheting it up, and there seems to be a whole lot of leaks. It seems like everyone's playing this game in the media, and this big report's coming out tomorrow. So let's first start with all the leaks and all the coverage. What are your thoughts as you see the Greitens team go on the offensive?
Well, I think what you're seeing with the Greitens team leaking very select passages from the deposition of the woman who is the victim in this case is that they recognize how damaging Wednesday's report from the House Investigative Committee is likely to be. The House Committee, led by State Rep Jay Barnes from Jefferson City, has been interviewing many of the same witnesses that went before the grand jury that led to the felony indictment for invasion of privacy against the governor. And that report is coming out Wednesday, and the governor's attorneys have fought hard to stop the issuance of that report and have refused to make the governor available for an interview with that committee. That tells me why they're issuing, here's one sentence from the woman's deposition that attacks her credibility. They're attacking the victim in this case. And the most interesting thing that I saw yesterday was the response from the woman's attorney. He has been publicly very quiet. She has been publicly very quiet. But once she got attacked by the governor's team yesterday, that really backfired. Scott Simpson, the attorney for the woman, late last night, issued a news release that said, "Okay, Governor, you want to play this game? Here's what I'm suggesting. Release the entire deposition. You want to pull one sentence out in which she used the word dream as it relates to her recollection as to whether or not there was a camera." Simpson's statement said that the woman and Governor Greitens had several conversations in which the governor told her of the photo, in which they discussed the photo, and he has now asked for the defense to release the entire deposition. That is telling. It tells you that there's a lot more there, and probably what's in that deposition is very similar to what we're going to see from the House report that is going to be released on Wednesday.
Yeah, assuming both sides are correct, the idea that she thought it was a dream sort of goes away if there's evidence of numerous conversations talking about a picture.
Right, and the sentence about it being a dream, keep in mind what we knew about that incident from the very beginning was that the woman was blindfolded, that the woman didn't see the camera. She thought she saw a flash. She didn't see the phone. That's what she testified to, and then because the word dream was in there, that's what they played off. The governor's team was actually paying social media to promote tweets yesterday attacking the woman, presumably using the governor's dark money, perhaps using his legal defense fund. We will likely never know where the money came from because that's how the governor plays politics. But to attack the credibility of the woman a day or two before the report comes out from the House, which, keep in mind, again, we're talking about a majority Republican House committee, not even slightly majority, but largely majority House committee that is investing the Republican governor. That report comes out Wednesday. That's the big news. And keep in mind, this is, there's a dry side of this that nobody wants to talk about. Everybody wants to talk about the sex and the photo, and presumably that's what's going to be very heavy in the House report. But there's a lawsuit going on in Jefferson City in which two attorneys from St. Louis have filed a sunshine law and records retention lawsuit against the governor. And they subpoenaed Confide, the company that the governor's office was using to destroy text messages, to get those records yesterday. And they are fighting the governor's office over whether or not that lawsuit will be dismissed. They already won it once. They'll probably win it again. But you have the governor arguing, and this is important for all government. This is bigger than one gubernatorial scandal. It's bigger than whether or not the governor's political career is over. You have a governor arguing that basically the Sunshine Law doesn't apply to me, that basically I can destroy anything and nobody can sue me over it, and that's what they're trying to argue to the judge to get this case dismissed. That's a big deal. That's going to have an effect on Sunshine Law and open records and government accountability for another generation of Missouri taxpayers if the governor's office were to win that motion to dismiss. So let's keep an eye on that lawsuit as well. That may end up being just as important for public policy, maybe more important for public policy than the salacious details that are going to come out in the governor's trial and in the House report that's going to hit Wednesday.
All right, Tony, let's assume it's this report that comes out tomorrow isn't going to have any of the Holly stuff in it about the mission continues and the fundraising and the emails and stuff like that. It's not apparently not going to have all this confide conversation either. It's going to be focused basically on this affair. If it is detailed as Ken Starr's investigation was on Bill Clinton, and they get into the minute-by-minute details of a encounter, is there not a possibility that it is so graphic that it backfires and people say that's just not suitable for public discussion? And even though it's not illegal, it might be just so unseemly that it actually ricochets and helps the governor.
I doubt it. I do believe it'll be unseemly, but it depends on what those details are. My suspicion is that some of those details are going to include other elements of the relationship between the governor and the woman who's at the center of this. And it's going to include other testimony from other people who went before the committee. I don't believe that the House Investigative Committee would fight so hard against the governor to get this thing released if that committee didn't believe this report is important and this report is going to be damaging to the governor. And so we'll see how the public reacts, and I'm sure the governor's spin machine is ready to go full blast. The folks who are opposed to the governor are charging up their spin machine. We'll see how people react to the details in the report. But how the public reacts is how the public's going to react. I doubt there's any detail in there that has an effect on the governor's criminal case. I do believe that if those sorts of details were in there, they might have helped the report.
Right, but if that's true, then it will be embarrassing. If it's nothing illegal, this report is just going to be embarrassing. And then the question is, why do it if it's just embarrassing?
Well, it's going to outline what the governor's behavior was, and that's what the House cares about. Keep in mind that the standard for impeachment is different than the standard for a criminal conviction. The House isn't investigating whether or not the governor necessarily committed a crime. The standard for impeachment, or at least one of the standards for impeachment, is moral turpitude. And so one of the things that this House Investigative Committee is looking at is the moral behavior of the governor. And I believe that is likely what we're going to see in some detail in that report. And will it be enough to even pull back more support from the governor by folks who may say, okay, he had an affair, he apologized, but what about this, what about this, what about this? I think some of those details are going to matter more in a political context than they are in a in a criminal context. And we'll see, how people react. I don't know specifically what's in there.
Right.
Like everybody else, I've heard bits and pieces of what might be. But I look at the statement from attorney Scott Simpson last night, who represents the woman, in which he said, we want that full deposition released. If they want that full deposition released, there's details in there that are damaging to the governor. And on balance, the woman whose life is being played out before the public, she didn't seek the spotlight. She didn't seek to make this information public. She didn't run for governor. But she's willing to stand up and say, I want my full several-hour deposition made public. That tells me an awful lot about what's in that deposition, and it can't be good for the governor.
If you remember, not too long ago, John Deal, Speaker of the House, resigned over inappropriate text messages. So we sure have come a long way, Tony Messenger.
Yes, we have.
Tony, have a good day. Thanks for checking in.